welcome in to the Wednesday, normally afternoon stream. Davis Mattek, Chesley, with you. This is sort of our best ball portfolio show. We're going to look what through 5 weeks has worked in Best Ball Mania 5, what hasn't worked in Best Ball Mania 5. We're going to cover some of the big news items of the week. Nico Collins, the New York Football Jets, Devontae Adams, Liam, not playing this week. And you're ready to wait out. You're ready to wait out a hurricane, man. You're really into it, dude. You are well, I mean, are you on the East Coast? I don't even know of Florida.
No, so like I'm in the Tampa St. Pete area, but I'm not like on the coast. So I'm in like zone X or whatever. I think they're evacing to like zone F. Really the dangerous part is like the storm surge. So houses on the water, which I am not, But, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting tonight. The thing about it is Tampa's kind of built in this like valley where they haven't been hit by a hurricane for 100 years. And so like this might be the most damaging storm of all time because of course, people cut corners. A lot of these houses are just not like up to standard as far as like being concrete. There's a lot of wooden houses. So going to be a dangerous storm for Tampa people. And
well,
St. Pete.
I will. I'll be thinking of you. Sure, we will be praying. We'll be praying for Herzig. It's gonna be really rough. So if you are in that area, either I hope you got out, or I hope that you.
I mean, when the Swolecast doesn't even cover the upcoming weather because it's too serious, that's when you know.
Yeah. It's pretty brutal. So if you guys have not watched the show before, it's a pretty simple program. We are basically just going to cover some of the best ball advance rate stuff. We're going to look at some of our dust ass portfolios, although I think Liam's portfolio probably is doing.
This was a great week for me.
No, yeah, good week for Chess Liam.
Jamar Chase proved that he is actually, you had your weeks with Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson scoring a touchdown every single week, but no. Jamar Chase, just like in college, when he was the alpha to Jefferson, reminds the player pool that he possesses one of the highest ceilings in fantasy football. But we'll get into that. I think we want to start with Nico Collins on IR. Honestly, like the best pick in fantasy football this year. I think like maybe like more than Rashee Rice to me. Just because so rare to get a player both with super deep ADOT and super high target share. Unfortunately, the Bills just played great defense. You don't cover a guy that's so good that he pulls his hamstring. What's the strategy there? But no, I mean, the Texans being, conservative, putting him on IR. I still think you're pumped for the Nico teams. As far as like what was the optimal 3-round start to you, to me, it is either Chase / Jefferson / Lamb with Nico Collins in the second, and then Malik Neighbors in the third, DK Metcalf in the third, something like this. Maybe Kyron.
DJ Moore. DJ Moore is having a very underrated start to his season.
There is absolutely 0% chance you could put DJ Moore in the Neighbors discussion so far. Now, maybe he'll get there. The other thing about DJ Moore is, Rome Odunze does look good. Like, he didn't get there in the box score, but he looks really good on tape. So I don't even think it's guaranteed Moore will be the alpha to Rome by the time the playoffs rolls out.
You know who doesn't look good is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen does not.
Good for both, good. Right? So what would be the optimal 3-round start to you?
I think Jefferson, Chase, or CeeDee Lamb, followed by, well, honestly, Barkley, right? It has to be.
But if you get Barkley, you don't get Nico.
Well, slam dunk, right? Wide receivers just keep getting injured. Why would you want a wide receiver when you could just take a 27-year-old running back? Come on. It feels pretty straightforward.
Okay, and I heard you on the Swolecast saying that like your advance rates by week 4 are your advance rates. I just categorically like disagree with that. Where I was advancing 12 teams last week, I'm advancing 25 this week. If if Xavier Worthy goes for 40 points, Davis, you are going to gain 10 teams. Now, my advance rate is a little fake, obviously, because I drafted, I don't know, 25% of Jamar Chase or something. I just had him ranked as the 103. So I have like a big position on him. He scored 40 points. He's a 40% advance rate player. Probably doesn't hold, although maybe it does, right? Like the thing about Chase is his best year was his rookie year. So unfortunately for both of us, I think we both played it wrong, where you played Jefferson, I played Chase. The clear answer was to draft both and don't draft the running backs, Bijan, Breece Hall, if we could do it again. What's your stance there? Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably Jamar Chase ends up settling as like a 28% advance rate guy. Because the thing with Chase, I mean, we've already seen it, is he's just going to have a lot of weeks where the opposing team decides to take him away and the Bengals don't care. The other thing you're sweating if you have a big Bengals position, if you have a big Burrow position, a big Chase position, is they might be a 4-win team. They might be completely out of it.
Those are both wrong to me because number one, the Chase bad games came with T. Higgins off the field. So, and then number two, like the Bengals are like number 3 in EPA per play. They are clearly still a playoff team to me.
Yeah, where's their defense at? Where's their defense at in
I mean,
EPA per play?
that's a good thing, right? Like that's a good thing. And like going to, Jamar Chase's best year was his rookie year. Did people really think that was going to be his best year of his career? No way. Just like no effing way. So he's been hurt. Burrow's been hurt. That could still happen. But the difference between Chase and Jefferson is like, okay, if you want to say Jefferson's the best route runner, whatever. I don't even care about that. That's like Chase has the ability to catch a 1-yard pass and go score. We saw it this past week. Jefferson doesn't have that in his bag. Like Jefferson had that 99-yard air yard touchdown. So like he can beat someone deep, but he's not like he doesn't have the ability to generate yak quite like Chase, which in best ball for like super
all
high.
right, well, I'm gonna go to the data and go see if this is true. I'm gonna guess
the data. Jefferson's biggest games are sub 40 points. He has never like
I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna guess you're very wrong. You're very wrong.
Jefferson has the ability to repeatedly score 20 points, 25 points, which is valuable.
Right.
But
yards after catch,
his highest
per
games
reception.
ever are not. His highest games ever is lower than Juwan Jennings, which I mean, no shame, it was 50 points. But
yeah, I mean, I would assume that is true for most wide receivers in the NFL. So you are correct that a good Justin Jefferson season, the yak is a good Justin Jefferson season, 5.1, 4.5, 4.9, 3.8, 5.2 yards after catch per reception. Justin Jefferson's very good seasons, so year 1 and year 2, he's at 8 yak
Jamar
per
Chase,
reception. But 2022 and 2023, his yak per reception is totally in line with Jefferson. So yeah, I am going to
the season where Joe Burrow didn't play quarterback, you mean? And so he's like,
shouldn't that be better for his yak? They should scheme up a lot of screens and things.
No, because what happens is they build the whole plane out of chase slants, and when the defense doesn't have to worry, when the defense doesn't have to worry about getting beat deep, you can just play soft coverage and stop yak. When you have to be worried about getting beat deep as well, that generates space on the field for yak to happen. So no, I mean like it is just true that in watching football, you would say Chase has better yak. He's just simply a faster football player than Jefferson.
Sure. I mean, I'm not negative on Jamar Chase. The guys who I was fading relative to the field were St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, well, and Chase, because I had Jefferson ahead of him. But yeah, I think they are both likely. I feel we are at the point of the season now where I can say those are going to be the 2 highest advance rate players in the first round. It'll be Jefferson and it'll be Chase, probably followed by I think you'd say St. Brown at this point, because also where St. Brown is getting drafted, you were less likely to get a disaster guy in the second round with him.
I would say it's Lamb, and And I'm not going to just give it to Chase and Jefferson because, I mean, we just saw Nico Collins go on IR. If either goes on IR and Lamb scores 40 points in a game, that's going to change everything up. The ones we know are going to be bad, CMC, Puka Nakua are the two ones we know are going to be bad. Tyreek Hill is also probably going to be bad because we don't get Tua till week 8.
Yeah, Tyreek is going to be bad even if Tua comes back. There's so many zeros already.
Yes. And then, okay, Bijan, Breece, what's your read there? Like Bijan, I think we can chalk up to the shoulder injury.
Hamstring.
You know? I thought he had a hurt shoulder is what I read going into
He was
that
listed he was listed on Monday last week before that Thursday night game with a hamstring injury.
Okay, so either I misread or he's got multiple injuries. I mean, concerning for both that, I guess you like optimism for Bijan is that the Falcons look good and Kirk Cousins look good. So like, no, Kirk Cousins is not going to throw for 600 yards every game. It's like touchdowns are going to flow through Bijan occasionally. Breece, optimism a lot less unless the whole offense changes without Robert Saleh. Let's talk about that. My stance of what happened there is Robert Saleh was going to demote Nathaniel Hackett. Hackett went to Rodgers and said, "Hey, this is happening." Rodgers went to the owner and saved Hackett. That's what I think happened. What do you think happened?
So I think you're probably right about that. Like it was a save Rodgers guy thing. And ultimately where I landed is like the Jets season is total dust without Aaron Rodgers playing like one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL, something like that. Yeah, you know this conspiracy theory?
I mean, you want to talk like Woody Johnson is an old school racist if you read about this guy. Like, so I mean, yeah,
yeah.
this is like maybe the Jets owner, by the way, guys. Yeah, I mean, it could be the Lebanon flag thing too. Of course, this week is the anniversary of that brutal attack, and then obviously relations are, an 11 out of 10 as far as Palestine-Israel relations. So I don't know. Maybe that was it. I kind of think
you know
that
what's
like
even you know what's even more likely? I think it's even more likely that it was like kind of widely reported that Woody Johnson, he used to be the ambassador to the United Kingdom, so he spent a lot of time over there. He has a lot of, posh, rich friends over there. They all came to the game. They're all there in the suite. They lose that game. Woody Johnson is pissed. Woody Johnson has to save some face. Woody Johnson has to do something. So Woody Johnson is like, someone's losing their job. Someone's losing their job, and you can't bench a head coach. Yeah, this I am not buying. I'm definitely not buying the news that Rodgers was shocked when he found out. Rodgers
and
knew.
like optimistically on it, like being honest, I think you could do like if I'm a Jets fan, you could do a lot worse than like if Rodgers is telling the owner like, "Hey, Saleh's energy's bad. The locker room doesn't like him. I know what this team should be doing to win the Super Bowl." You could do like as rosters has your team hostage. You could do a lot worse than just, all right, let's find out if Rodgers is right. Maybe Rodgers is right. You need to be like the rumor is Rodgers doesn't like doing motion things that the top offenses do because he thinks it's like only bad quarterbacks need to do that. And so like he's probably getting like Saleh's probably like, hey, all the top teams do this. And he's like, no, this is how you're supposed to run an offense. So like we're gonna go back to my way of offense, and Hackett was having to do some pre-snap motion or something. So yeah, like I mean, you're gonna go as Rodgers goes anyway. So if he feels that he can do better as the kind of like a LeBron James, almost the head coach of the team, as a fan, if I was a fan of the Jets, I'd be willing to just find out and like whatever. It doesn't matter. Rodgers is only gonna play.
I don't think the thing is I don't think anyone benefits for fantasy
Maybe
from
Breece.
this firing.
Maybe Breece will. Maybe Breece.
I mean, it'll be Breece if they start winning games. If they start winning games and they're better as a team, then sure, Breece. But like Breece will end up being. I think Breece is going to end up having a silent killer type season. like he averages like 17.5 points or something, and he's
Bro,
fine.
17.5 looks like a effing an oasis in the desert right now. You kidding me? Like he's
But I don't
like
know because
you're looking at
the
like
Jets
12 points right now,
the
you know.
Jets play so slow. They're just always bringing the clock down to double. They're bringing the clock down to 00. So when your overall offensive volume is low and your defense is good and your quarterback prefers to throw in the red zone, which I mean, we know this has been Aaron Rodgers' deal his entire career. You're really just looking at like what is Breece Hall's kind of projectable ceiling right now? Like you would be if he got 27 points in a week, you'd be like, "Oh my fucking god, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me." And it just feels like it's very thin for him to get there. Like honestly, the thing that might save Breece's advance rate is just if he plays 17 games and other guys keep going down. Like for example, let's say Barkley turns his ankle this week. What happens to Breece's advance rate if he just stays healthy for 17 games and Barkley misses a month?
Yeah, I mean, like we're gonna look at some other tweets here, and you can like Malik Neighbors went from 40% just missing one game to like 25%. So obviously everything's skewed there. The it's just a reminder that
Wow,
it
there are only 73 teams in Best Ball Mania with these two on them.
wow, but it's just
That's kind of surprising, don't you think?
it is a. I mean, you needed to get lucky to have Garrett Wilson the fall to pair with Breece, and
Or
Breece was
for
usually
Breece
going.
to fall. Yeah.
Yeah, and Breece was usually going top 7, so not that surprising, but it's just a reminder that in fantasy football, any highly drafted player, but especially running back, is a risky pick. And especially when you know how safe usually an Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CD, like how safe these first round wide receivers are, where if you draft Bijan, you draft Breece, you draft CMC, you're not doing that for safety. You're doing that because you think that they can break the player pool, they can be that special of a player. And when they're not, you regret the decision. You're like, God damn, I didn't draft a wide receiver who can score 40 points in a game. So yeah.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right. All right. I don't have anything else interesting to say about the first round guys. I think
Yeah.
these are a bit more interesting. So these are the top drafted quarterback best ball advance rates. Got Josh Allen at 14%. It's very interesting to me that Allen, Hurts, Mahomes are all below average. CJ Stroud is below average. Kyler is below average. Love is just above. Obviously, a huge amount of weight is being pulled by Lamar, who does, again, just look like the best quarterback in fantasy. I mean, really, I guess it really should not be surprising that Lamar is the best quarterback in fantasy, but
He's going to
yeah,
be boom
and
bust
Hurts
though,
did already
right?
have his bye. Yeah, so Hurts having his bye and AJ Brown and Devonta Smith missing is a big part of that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, last week I think Josh Allen was 25%. So just a reminder what 1 week of a bad game does to you. The Bills, though, definitely seem a bit different. I mean, on the Bills, like Josh Allen maybe played with maybe he got concussed in that Ravens game. You remember when that on the trick play when the big D lineman pushed him down?
Well, he definitely got concussed last week. I mean,
He definitely yes.
Liam, take me into your mind as a fan. You're watching your boy. Like that is like the reason you get up in the morning. You watch him take a nap, but he doesn't come out of the game. What is that like for you?
Well, I mean that whole game, first of all, like if Nico Collins doesn't pull up his hamstring, maybe the Bills are down like 40 at half. Like, and Josh Allen played like shit. Kincaid was like streaking down the field on a 70-yard touchdown. The offense is also being built out of Matt Collins. Like you're down bad with the Chiefs, but like if the path to failure for the Bills pieces is Matt Collins being a big part of the offense, which
Dude, the Matt Collins targets. Like, dude,
I mean,
what?
inches away, dude. The guy just needs to track a little bit better, you know?
I also like slightly disagree with you on that Kincaid play. Like, I don't think it was as much of a layup as you thought. It's good that he's running. It's good that he's running those routes.
Yeah.
But Anyways, continue.
Well, yeah, I mean, Josh Allen underthrows him. The linebacker makes a hell of a play. No, but I'm saying, like, in the first half, the Bills played so bad, they should have been down 30. Position to, like, steal that game was shocking. Josh Allen gets concussed. We get a Mitch Trubisky snap. I'm like, oh, yikes. No, should he go back in the game? Absolutely not. Now he's claiming it's his chest, whatever. Bills play on Monday night, so at least he gets a little bit extra rest. But I don't know. I'm not long-term worried about the Bills. I am skeptical. Like, the wide receiver room without Khalil Shakir looks highly skeptical. And I mean, this is like a mini reset year for the Bills. They got a lot of dead money. Keon Coleman does look better than people want to admit. You know, like, he's actually separating. I think he's like top 5 amongst the rookies in separation. Only scored like the long touchdown here. Yeah, like the Mac, like, I think Curtis Samuel
26% yards per route run, 23% of the targets, a 20
he could have scored.
ADOT.
He could have had like a 30-point game if he like caught some of these balls. I don't think that's the plan going forward. I think Josh likes Matt Collins, so he's like, screw it. Like, let's see what you got, dude. But no, I mean, like, and then I'm not as hard on the Bills losing. Like, I don't blame Sean McDermott for the Bills passing 3 times there. They did need a first down in my mind. I think that's more on Josh Allen's shoulders, who was probably concussed. Because I think, like, Josh could have thrown some 5-yard outs there to, like, generate a first down. He chose not to. He chose to try to hit.
That's not the Josh Allen way.
No, he chose to try to win the game with 30 seconds. And it's like, all right, dude, I don't blame you. You are probably roughly concussed.
Playing Keon in the slot would just be immediately admitting that he was a bad draft pick. I disagree with this. They should not do that.
I don't think you can, because that's where Shakir operates. He's like their best wide receiver. That's where Kincaid kind of operates. Like, and Kincaid is like, Derek Stingley is covering Kincaid. That is not usually like, okay, so good, the defense respects him. Bad, you don't want the best defender of the other team on your line. Like, you want them to be covered by AJ Klein and co, like linebackers. And then I don't think Curtis Samuel's healthy, and I don't think he will be for.
Well, like, he got up to 67% of the routes last week. MBS was down to 39%.
Yeah, I think that was just like desperation. They're not using him as a real wide receiver. Like, it's like short, like gadgety screens and such. I don't think he's healthy.
He has 4% of the air yards for the Buffalo Bills.
So that's rough. I mean, Shakir, Kincaid. The other weird thing is that the Bills are playing so slow. Like, they've not usually done that. So I don't know. Maybe Joe Brady is a donkey. Maybe they just need some time.
Buddy, Joe Brady is a donkey. I'm sorry to deliver this news to you. You should have known the second they called that trick play when it was 21-10, and they could have just, like, very conceivably taken all of the initiative, all the momentum against the Ravens, and they called that trick play. Like, insane stuff.
I just have a little bit more patience than you, Davis. You have declared Chase Brown dead. Now he's not. You tend to ride the wave of the NFL, and like we all do. We all do 1 week reactions because that's what we have. But no, I mean, I'm not ready to declare Joe Brady dead. I am concerned. Like, I'm concerned with some things I see. Like, why are we keep running James Cook up the gut? You see, like, why not pitch him the ball and let his speed be part of the offense, you know? But I'm not worried about the Bills long term or Josh Allen. I don't know if in fantasy, though, Josh Allen is going to be. Now, if the Bills lose to the Jets, Josh Allen will be a great pick in fantasy because you're going to see rushing Josh Allen. And that is just a reminder that I don't think the Bills want to rush Josh Allen a bunch if they don't have to. But whenever they do, they will.
Yeah. So we're getting a couple questions about Tank Dell, to which I would like to say he just very clearly is not healthy. He's not.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that because, okay, Mark Andrews I faded because of tightrope. Tank Dell I didn't because he was young and so good last year. Kind of looks like I should to date. Now, if this guy gets healthy by week 10, okay, I don't care. But what's your stance on injured players? Obviously, it's skewed by such a small sample. Like, are you going to actively change how you draft next year because of Mark Andrews, Tank? Like, do you think we're overreacting to the injuries? I think we as fantasy analysts just kind of ignore it sometimes. What's your stance?
Well, I think with the Mark Andrews thing, probably there is some signal there. And the data doesn't show that Tank Dell is that much worse. Look, like
He
his
was shot too. So like he not only broke his leg, but then he got shot.
Yeah, so his separation score is fine. His yards per route run compared to last season, absolutely dust. Let's actually look.
What's
Let me,
Kincaid's separation score? Because ESPN Open Score is being a coward and refuses to rank Kincaid.
Yeah, maybe it's too high. So
Maybe it's
last year,
breaking their chart.
yeah. So Tank Dell's separation score on fantasy points is like literally like worse than 50% on 288 routes. His win rate is way down. His separation score versus man
His
coverage.
ADOT's down too. He's like running shallower too, right?
Yes. Yeah. So Tank Dell, to me, the data would say he's not healthy. Matt Harmon, who does the great reception perception stuff, he had this great bit on his podcast, the Yahoo Fantasy Football podcast this week, and he's like, you can look at all the numbers and declare that Tank Dell is not playing very well, or you could also just watch football with your two eyes and be like, Tank Dell does not look right because he's a 155-pound guy who broke his leg and got shot. Like,
Yeah.
so now maybe it's true that he is going to just have to play better, or not play better, but he's just going to have to get the ball more. Like he just is going to have to be targeted more because Nico Collins is on the IR and it's the only way their offense will work. Or
when Nico went out of that game, the Texans did not score any points. It was like 17-3. The game finished 23-20 with like 2 field goals, including one as time expires. So like the Texans offense, now the Bills are built to stop the pass a little bit, but with Stephon Diggs as the number 1 and a bunch of guys, Xavier Hutchinson being your 3, why do you refuse to trade John Mechie and then you don't even play him? I don't get that.
does anyone really want him? I don't know.
Like in August, we were getting reports that teams were calling about John Mechie, and then the Texans elected to cut Noah Brown to keep John Mechie, to not play him. Now, I mean, maybe Xavier Hutchinson, 6th round draft pick, maybe he's just outplaying him, but it is a little weird to me.
Now, another thing that is interesting, I'm going to pull this up, but I'm fairly certain Tank Dell also has a different role in this offense. Like his air yards are way up, which is I don't know if that is the best way to use him, to be using him as a vertical wide receiver. So he
crushes like that. What do you mean? He crushes with like deep routes.
So he's got a 10.9 ADOT, a 21% air yard share this year. I don't actually know, but I'm going to guess that it was relatively lower in the games that he played last year.
I think it was pretty
no,
high.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
All right, I'm eating it. I was wrong.
No, like Tank is like, you are conceptually saying Tank is this slot wide receiver, short ADOT. That is not, like, Tank is a deep ADOT slot who like beats people for touchdowns. Like that's why we like him. And yeah, it's revisionist, like it's revisionist history to say, oh, Nico was always going to be the alpha. Tank legit was like co-alpha with him when healthy last year. I don't agree with the people who were saying Nico was far, like that's just not true. Tank was a co-alpha with him. I don't think he's healthy. I think he was a good pick if we turn injuries off. But of course, he got injured, and I didn't weigh that. Now, if we get Tank from last year, weeks 12 through 17, I want that guy on my teams. If we get this Tank, I don't want that guy on my team. So I don't know.
I mean, I wanted all of them on my teams, but really a huge issue is just like they have not been a very good offense. They can't run the ball. They cannot run the ball without Joe Mixon in. Slowick wants to run the ball. That's kind of an underrated thing is Slowick is, he's from the Shanahan tree. He wants to run the ball. He wants to run the ball on first down. He wants to run the ball in the red zone. I don't know if this is still true after the Bills game. I would guess it was not. But following 2 consecutive runs, the Texans' average down and distance on third down was greater than 10 yards, which means that on series where they ran on first and second down, they were more likely than not to have lost yards. The Mixon thing is very bizarre though, because like he's practiced a couple times already. He's been back at practice and then they ruled him out. So I like what is this injury? Like what's happened?
To me, this is, look at the AFC playoff picture, maybe even pull it up for us. You look at teams like the 3-2 Broncos in there. You look at teams like the 2-2 Chargers and the Bills, the Chiefs, the Texans, like the teams that like the Ravens, the teams that we think legitimately can win the Super Bowl. They understand the whole goal is to be full cylinders by the real playoffs. And so the Texans, like, okay, they lose the game to the Bills, not a big deal to them. They like their division is pretty winnable. And so like maybe in a bigger game, Joe Mixon plays, but no reason to push it with the veteran. I don't think the injury is like super concerning for him. I think they're just being conservative with it because of age and like who is going to threaten those playoff spots in the AFC? Like I guess the Jets go on a run. The Bengals get back in it. I think they do. The Jaguars, no, like
no, it's true. Like right now, if you sort by the AFC teams, so the Patriots are dead. The Jets are let's go.
Dude, the Dolphins aren't dead. They're 2-3. Like the Dolphins are a couple games out.
All right, the make playoff odds for the AFC teams. Yeah, the Dolphins are not dead. So the Patriots are dead. The Browns are dead. Even the Jaguars and the Titans are not dead.
Like, can't you see the Steelers falling off?
Yeah, that's crazy. The Steelers are just about even money to make the playoffs. I think I'd probably bet against that.
I would prefer betting on the Bengals than the Steelers if I had to choose a team.
Yeah, so right now, odds to make the playoffs for the Cincinnati Bengals plus 140.
Market knows ball there,
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably short that just because their defense is so bad. But I get, T. Higgins has been playing well. They're getting a little bit of a run game. So I suppose it is possible. Let's go back to the advance rate stuff. I think Kyler's goes up because McBride is back. He had 8 targets last week, and because all the other tight ends are so bad, I think he gets dragged up. Yeah, and I think Caleb comes up. Caleb looks to me quite good. I think weeks.
Caleb gets the Jags, and then his bye is at like a really good time for a rookie where, I mean, it's good for Shane Waldron too. Lets him hopefully evaluate himself a little bit. They've removed Gerald Everett from the offense. So like some logic is winning out there. Caleb is looking better. Rome healthy now. Even Keenan, like getting healthier is going to help. So yeah, I think Caleb goes up. Happy to see him looking better. I mean, Jaden Daniels has room to go up, man. Only 25% for what he's been. Now you get this Ravens maybe shootout game. Like Jaden Daniels, room to go way up. I think Burrow and
does Jaden Daniels have a ton of room to go up because his stacking partners are all pretty bad?
No, that's why he has room to go up. Where if they start like if Terry McLaurin starts becoming a league winner because Caleb like they open up the offense more, that's gonna bring him way up. And
who's their week 17 matchup?
The Atlanta pieces coming alive will bring Jaden Daniels way up. If like Drake London starts being a smash, even Darnell Mooney, even Darnell Mooney, by the way, I wish
6,000 teams with Jaden Daniels and Darnell Mooney on them.
Yeah, I thought he could be the Jordan Addison. I didn't get enough of him, but
Yeah, I didn't either.
you're seeing it play out that the Jordan Addison thesis is alive.
5,000 teams with Jaden Daniels and London.
Well, like compare and just show the people, like put in Dak there. Put in Dak just to show that the field is prioritizing.
Yeah, so it slices in half. What about with Mooney? No, it's actually same number with Mooney, 5,000 again. So that's interesting.
There could be some randomness here at play.
Oh, well, there definitely is randomness, but I would say there's no randomness with Daniels being represented on
London teams.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Bijan, like put in Bijan there. You like Bijan, Caleb.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. So
Bijan Daniels and like Dak or Burrow Daniels is gonna be
Bijan and Jaden Daniels is represented on 7,000 teams. Bijan and Dak is represented on 2,000 teams. So yeah,
and for anyone confused why we're choosing Dak, he just had a similar ADP to Daniels. Went in the same round.
Sure, and Dak Jaden teams definitely exist as well. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it just show it. Like, there's infinite examples to show that the field is prioritizing Week 17 partners.
You know who's going to go up. This is my call for who ends up. This is going to be a guy who ends up being like a 20% advance rate guy. Yeah,
I had I went on Pete's
man.
Twice this year. I had some great calls. I had Tolbert I didn't get enough Tolbert. Like that was me trying to get some when I took him in the 12th round or whatever.
Jesus Christ, man. It's so dark.
Are we going to our advanced rates or are we finishing the
No, I'm just looking. What do we think? Classic, a Mahomes team. Great.
Okay, let's talk about the Chiefs because I wanted to an Ayuk team. Look at you, dude. Some humility. I wanted to talk about this with you because I wrote about this in the offseason that there was absolutely no way that Pacheco, Mahomes, like everyone pays off going at the same round, that just because they all went as like 3rd through 5th round picks. And that's just assuming, like, if you take them all, you're assuming that there's no other valuable pieces at those rounds. Is now in something like Best Ball Mania, this is a risk tolerance issue. Like you did more money in main events versus Best Ball Mania. So personally, right? Personally, I'm okay playing Best Ball Mania really risky. Like I have played riskier than I did this year, where I think my exposures were a little bit more spread out for whatever reason. Where in years past, I've just had like I had Jamar Chase as the 101 and had like 30% of him last year. That is very risky. That is leaning into a top heavy structure. Or when I had 60% Gabe Davis, that is risky where I'm saying he's a good pick and I'm saying the players in that round fail. Now, obviously there could be big payoffs here. What is your now? You've ran bad on the Chiefs in a couple ways. Number one, the cover 2 era.
Good thing my main event teams are doing so good, man. Good thing. You know, it's like let's just add this up.
You're alive still, man. Because
2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 12,000, 14,000.
That team's a playoff team.
16,000.
Playoff team is a top 14.
18,000. So $20,000 worth of fantasy football teams.
Okay, so maybe you played risky on the main event as well, where you drafted the same guys you did in Best Ball Mania. Now,
no, I just don't have any. I just don't have any Barkley, and I don't have any Kamara.
You don't need the, but like, you've ran bad where your best
look
player.
At this team. This is a totally fine team, and then Travis Kelce. And then Cooper Kupp, Rashee Rice. It's just like, you
might
just
get there.
Just is what it is, man.
No, but what I'm like, as far as risk tolerance and how we played, you're feeling the downside of it. So it's easy to react and be like, I drafted a lot of Rashee Rice. He got hurt. Therefore, I'm going to spread everything out next year.
Oh, fuck no. No.
As far as like trying to win the contest, though, right? Like, are you purely happy with how you played? There's some things I wish I did different. Like, for example, Brian Thomas Jr. was a guy I had at like 25%. And then the Jaguars reporters started to like negatively like talk about him. And so I lowered him my rankings. And I wish I just like didn't have Twitter and didn't read about that at all, because I thought like big fast guy could score points, pretty simple stuff. And then like I took input there and spread it out more. What's your take as far as risk tolerance with BBM and then maybe in general?
The only thing that I think I really did poorly that I could have, with the information I had at the time and critical thinking skills I have inside my own brain, is realize that Hollywood Brown being out would have been an immediate signal to Andy Reid and to the Chiefs that this idea of running the air raid offense and just like smashing and throwing for 4,400 yards was just not going to happen, because that immediately brings back in Justin Watson. That immediately, I mean, I don't know what I could have done.
Did
Like
you
they
think
signed Smith-Schuster, man. They like that, like they
waiver
signed
wire
Smith-Schuster.
king, dude? What, he's like the top waiver wire pickup this week. What did you think the Chiefs versus the Steelers was the key to winning Best Ball Mania?
No, but I basically thought Rashee Rice and Worthy were the two worst prices in fantasy football in terms of the market being inefficient. And I wanted to have Mahomes with them. And like, I think we've definitely seen it, right? We saw it in the Colts game. We saw it in the Cowboys game. Like, the Steelers are going to force you to pass because they don't want, they're one of the few teams that wants to force you to pass. They don't want you to run on them. And Fields adds an element that can at least allow them to play fun games, right? And I mean, let's see, how many Fields teams do I have in Best Ball Mania?
I drafted a lot of Bills players, not because I thought, I mean, the buy-in is not as big as some of the fantasy action I play, so I'm okay having some bias in Best Ball Mania. Two, while I didn't love the matchup against the Jets as far as like this is the matchup to win me the contest, I thought games against the Lions and the Patriots could be like maybe the Bills pieces get you there, and then me having Chase Brown or Zach Moss against the Broncos wins me it, or
also, I think there's pretty clear evidence that hyper focusing too much on game environment for games that take place 6 months away. This was like the game that you had to have players in last year.
Well, I mean, okay, like there's examples on both sides of this, right? Like what I like to talk about is last year I targeted the Eagles running backs because I like the Cardinals matchup. I was right, but football is chaotic. Like you're basically saying the same thing. Football is chaotic. So like I think the Bills Jets game
we approach this in a very different way. I basically say I'm not weighing that individual matchup stuff at all. And we've done this a different way the whole time, which is I simply want to advance a lot of good structured teams with game stacks and with correlated players on teams. You are hyper focusing on.
I don't know how you could say that when you layered in the same, like you played this year very exploitively, where you basically said the Chiefs guys are some portion of the key. So I'm going to have my narrow, like you kind of like, for those people who know Felix, like this is what he did the year he won the DK Millie, is he had like 7 core guys that he wanted on every team. And then he layered around that. Like, that's what you did, is like a roulette flowering a number. Like you were like, okay, Chiefs guys plus other environments. Like that's exploitative to me. That's not saying good structure layering around. But you played very exploitively this year, right? Like would you disagree?
No, 100%. I played exploitatively, but with GTO roster construction and correlations. But like I had 0% or like 2% of a lot of guys, and I had like, the double the number, like 16% or more of a lot of guys. And looking at my exposures, I mean, I don't really feel that bad about anything. Like Jaylen Warren, when Jaylen Warren comes
very
back,
unlucky with Warren, and he could still be a smash this year.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like Warren is going to take a lot of my 8th place teams to 4th place teams, because Najee Harris has been like the worst running back in the NFL. Chase Brown looks like a smash.
Did you see Worthy was number 1 in first read target share in that game?
Yeah, I'm not like Xavier Worthy has 4 touchdowns through 5 games. I simply am not like the Worthy thing is.
DJ Moore looks a lot better.
Rico
Wicks, I
Dowdle
think
looks good. Like I just
Wicks will
don't feel
get
bad
there.
about these.
Corum got stuff at the 1, but he's playing. So like this is like Jonathan Brooks and Blake Corum could definitely make their mark on this season, and like they've not even played yet. Rashee Rice dead, obviously. Braylon Allen, good pick. Jermaine Burton, we both got bags there.
The Jermaine Burton thing it's so funny because it was just me wanting to short T Higgins, and it turns out
It was early teams too. Like it's a byproduct of us drafting in May, June, and July.
Yeah, so I have a lot of Burton, and then I ended up taking I guess a little bit more in the field of Yoshi Boss, but I was like, I gotta try and get even there.
Yeah, but he was only 40% drafted, so you still have some positive leverage there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you and I did the same thing with Moss and Brown, just I have more Moss and you have more.
How you feeling about that after last week?
Well, I feel like okay, you only have 10% Moss. I pull up my players because I don't know it off the top of my head, or I'll pull up my exposures. I feel great because I split it. Like I identified that I have, let's see.
See right now I would trade in every Moss team for a Brown team. I'd say whatever I had on.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I definitely would.
I mean, that to me is feeling the emotions of this week. And Zach Moss had a high ankle sprain, which, like, okay, he's going to play probably. Kincaid, I think we'll get there. Ford, who knows?
I don't think you believe that. I think you are now doing a bit. I think you, in your heart of hearts, Liam, if I gave you truth serum right now, I think you were.
So Kincaid catches the 70-yard touchdown and everything's different. Like, we're just a game of inches decides whether a player's a good pick in week 5. Ray Davis, I have big doubts about Ray Davis getting there because he just doesn't look that good to me. And Ty Johnson, I think, would be a big part of the offense if James Cook got hurt. So not so sure about him.
Weirdly, I think Ray Davis to me seems kind of the same thing as Corum and Jonathan Brooks.
But worse to me because Ty Johnson is a bigger part of the offense than people like. I knew that was an outcome, but I wasn't drafting like it. I was like, hopefully it's not. And to me also, like, he just doesn't look that good when he touches the ball. Shakir, feel great about. Coleman is a totally fine pick as far as like a best ball guy. Ferguson feels great. Moss, like I feel good about Moss.
So let me show you why I would swap every team.
I don't think the plan is for Chase Brown just to become the workhorse. Do you think that is the plan?
No, I think Zach Moss will continue to play long down the distance. I think they like his pass blocking. I think he'll be there on the goal line. But if you're looking for a guy to win you $1.5 million, you want the guy who scores fantasy points over expectation. Chase Brown, 9.8 FPOE. Zach Moss.
To be clear, I have 23
FPOE.
Chase Brown teams. I have 34 Zach Moss teams. So I have 11 more Moss teams than Brown.
And what I'm saying is that I did the same thing you did, which is that I just took the cheaper one. And I'm saying right now, if you offered me on my teams on Underdog, I would swap all Moss teams for Chase Brown if that were an option right now.
I wouldn't, because I don't even think Chase Brown scores that receiving touchdown if Moss didn't get hurt. Like, they're saying it's not a serious injury, but it looked really bad for him. So I think coaches think about that too. If Moss goes to 0, then hell yeah. Like, and there is a risk Moss goes to 0. There was also a risk.
Moss is not going to 0.
There is a chance Chase Brown is just the alpha. That is a range of outcome.
In my opinion, they are Aldi brand David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Moss is a little bit worse than Montgomery. They're both way worse. They're both way worse than their Detroit Lions counterparts.
Significantly worse.
They're both significantly worse, but this is an offense with a ton of fantasy points available for running backs for 2 reasons. One, they don't use their tight ends, and they don't really use their third wide receiver at all. And inside the 5, they just are giving it to the running backs. It's very In fact, let's look that up. How
You're
many?
going to have reception touchdowns too. But no, like I think it is possible that Chase Brown becomes an 80% snap player. Not likely, but it's possible.
So right
It's also
now,
possible Moss just gets actually hurt. But no, like I want to have pieces of both of them because I think it's going to be Chase Brown has a big game, and maybe the ratio is like 2-1. Like maybe Chase Brown has 2 big games to Moss's 1. But even then, I would want some Moss because it's a valuable. Like we know this team's going to have to try the whole year if they can get wins. They pass a lot by the goal line, including to the running backs. I think Eric All could become a bigger part of the offense, and I'm not going to say that the Bengals don't throw to their third wide receiver when we've only had the 3 wide receivers healthy for 2 games. Like maybe Yoshi Voss can still remain a part of the offense. He hasn't to date. But no, like I'm
Yoshi's
not.
too slow. He can't get open. So there's been 116 available expected points for running backs on the Lions through 5 games. That's a lot. That's a lot of expected points. And for the Bengals, it has been 70 plus 47. So actually more expected. Well, the Lions missed. The Lions didn't play week 5. So that's a lot of expected points available for running backs.
And it's for a team that is like number 2 in neutral pass rate, where you would inherently think that, okay, if you're not running the ball, maybe your running back expected points is a little bit down, but when they're involved in the passing game, it is. I mean, like I don't like you're trying to say you prefer that you play this even more exploitively, where I think it's good. Like, okay,
Well, Liam, you know what is going to be incredible is next year bad drafters are going to feel incredibly emboldened by getting paid off. So the market is going to be like this year. I actually thought people were drafting pretty well. I thought ADPs mostly made sense. There wasn't a ton of stuff where I was like, well, this is just dead wrong. And next year, like, dude, is 31-year-old Derrick Henry going to be a top 20 pick in BBM next year? I think if he doesn't get hurt, almost assuredly he will be.
And it's like all the wide receivers have gotten hurt. AJ Brown, like Nico, like, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I realized there was major upside for Derrick Henry. Like, I literally said, like, okay, the upside seasons are 1,800 yards and like 15 touchdowns. But I think this past game shows how like he got there in overtime as far as yardage. He had like 30 yards before overtime.
Yeah, dude. This is very. I mean, no one cares about this, but I had like the under on his rushing yards and a big 8-legger on Underdog, and I was like counting it as a green dot already. And then I checked the box score, and I was like, wait, a 51-yard rushing, 51 yards rushing in overtime. All right, totally awesome.
Yeah, like and he scores the 1-inch touchdown. I still think, like you said, Lamar is the number 1 fantasy quarterback. I still think he's going to be a better and best ball player to some degree, where like there are going to be weeks where it's just Derrick Henry. There are going to be weeks where like not every team can even push the Ravens like the Bengals did. Like they literally don't have the capability to go score 80 yards with Jamar Chase. Lamar gets the ball back, throwing, like that's just not a game script we're going to see a lot.
– 5,511 teams. Man. Hey, Kiwi Cat is a friend of the channel. Tough scene here. Oh man. Oh buddy.
Trey Benson, dude. Trey Benson is a 0 on a lot of my teams.
Mixon, Kamara, Benson, Spears. That's a whole room of zeros. He's got so many. Oh, Bateman and Walker. That's a lot of zeros.
I have a lot of Chase, Nico, Ayuk team. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk is a perfect example of not overreacting to weeks 1 through 4, where like you want to talk about why my advance rates went better. It's because of Ayuk and Chase, period, and Brian Thomas. Like, and Ayuk, like people, like one dude has been commenting on all my videos. Give it up on Ayuk. Rough. Everyone pours some out for that guy. Rough week for him. 150 receiving yards. Like, I still think Ayuk is going to be the dominant player of the 49ers passing game. He just didn't practice
you
all year.
Don't believe that. I know that's Cope.
Dude, it's not going to be Debo. Debo is not someone you build your offense out for a year long. Like, you don't build the whole offense out of screen passes to Debo Samuel. And Debo's not a real wide receiver.
Debo has been better than Brandon Ayuk every year of their careers. Like,
pull up his ESPN Open score.
how would ESPN Open Score capture Debo?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I think it's actually how Debo. The ideal Debo rep is.
How about we look at what matters?
This is the ideal Debo rep. The corner is on your back. You catch the ball. You shrug him off. You say, "Get off me, little boy," and you go score 60-yard reception. He's kind of like yak ability. He's like a powerful Jamar Chase. Not fast, but powerful.
Yeah, I just think the guy who scores $1 billion.
You want to explain to the people what you're displaying here, by the way? You just kind of keep on like flashing this chart with no.
Yes, so this is the RotoViz expected points table, which basically just tells you how efficient a player is. Like, if you score fantasy points over expectation, you're a good player. If you score fantasy points under like Pollard versus Zeke is the way I would explain it. Zeke always got a lot of fantasy points and was always under expectation. Pollard also got a lot of fantasy points when they were teammates, but it was always over expectation. Now, the thing you see with the Shanahan offenses is the whole fucking team is over expectation. Like, literally, the whole team. Like, you got to be a terrible player. You got to be a Trent Sherfield. You got to be a Tyrion Davis-Price to get under expectation on a Kyle Shanahan team. And Debo has always both scored more real points. And although this is interesting, because of 2013 or 2023, I bet, yeah. Look at the fantasy points over expectation for Ayuk last year. That was the first year he was ever better than Debo, which is interesting.
Okay.
It is interesting.
And Debo Samuel's 28. Brandon Ayuk is 26. So like, and Brandon Ayuk is legit one of the best route runners in the NFL. That is why he had 90 yards receiving in the first quarter, and Davis was Arthur fisting to the sky.
Ayuk was my number one player in DFS. Him and T. Higgins, two players I hate, were my top.
Wow,
DFS
man, you're playing well. You're playing well to do that. Because Debo didn't have big games against the Cardinals either, but I don't know. Like, Debo is a little bit better in best ball too. Like, he's gonna have some huge games. Every 49ers piece is.
Every 49er is better in best ball.
But I really think the 49ers pieces are key to winning this year because their playoff schedule. Do you know it off the top of your head?
No, my brain is already dust.
It's Miami, Rams, and then Detroit. And that's what had me drafting a lot of Brandon Ayuk is it's tough to run on Detroit. And I just thought, like, I could see in my head, Brandon Ayuk against the Lions at home, give us that 200-yard.
It's actually not only is it tough to run on them, but teams have just stopped doing it. They're dead last.
For Kenneth Walker, like
they're even after that game, the Lions are dead last in the NFL in rushing attempts faced.
Yeah, and I thought, like, they tried to fix their secondary, but it's just kind of like a rookie corner having to face Ayuk, and then you got like Kittle, like, who is also a monster. CMC gonna return though. That will throw a wrench in everything.
Yeah, maybe he will. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. I think he's going to, but does CMC returning hurt Debo more to you, or Ayuk, or what's your
Kittle is always the one that gets squeezed. Like, Kittle will have like multiple games in a row where he like doesn't have catches.
Yeah,
to me, that has clearly been the big I think a big difference in their offense this year has been like how much it looks like Kittle is involved, because they're not throwing to the running back. Like, yeah, Jordan Mason has been excised. Yeah.
I had the same. Jordan Mason's running a lot of routes, but I had the same takeaway that Kittle is the dump off guy a lot of the time, like to the running back. And it makes sense. He's good in that role. Do we want to talk about the tight ends advance rates?
Yeah, let me pull up the tweet. Tight end advance rates is if you drafted a tight end, they're shitty. How you feeling about our Bowers?
That's part of the feature, man.
Hey,
It's
buddy, how you feeling about our Bowers bet?
well, okay. I'll say a couple things there. Number one, he had a 40% target share, so like that is obviously huge without Devontae Adams. Number two,
I wonder who told you that was going to happen.
he should not have scored a touchdown on that play. Gardner Minshew off his back foot.
Well, you know what happens?
Throws a
Hail
Hail Mary with the defender in his face. The defender mistimes the interception, and Bowers is behind him to go score like an 80-yard touchdown. He should have had a touchdown at the goal line, though. That didn't occur. So he ran really hot on that, but hey. And I think Aiden O'Connell could unlock a ceiling for all the Raiders pieces.
Let's just watch this play.
Yeah, watch this play, how the defender just mistimes the interception and then falls down. And
does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Bowers is just a grown man.
Literally, Bowers is doing nothing but catching the football. The defender just has an inability to get the ball there.
I think you are, Liam, I think you are coping because Brock Bowers is not your most drafted tight end.
I drafted a lot of Bowers, so I'm not going to be an anti-Bowers guy. Like, what's my Bowers exposure?
That's a good question.
And if I was a lower man, I would say, hey, I'm advancing more Bowers teams than you. Which
I'm probably advancing none. You have 21 Bowers teams, so that's pretty good. And I have 25, and I'm advancing one of them. That's so goddamn funny.
I mean, I draft every elite tight end because. And this is like a serious talking point where, as far as winning this contest, if any of the top tight ends goes for 30 points, weeks 15 or 16, I have a lot of teams like that. Like my DK,
the three horsemen of being a shit drafter. I mean, my God. My
DraftKings 555 teams, like they're doing well, but all of them have like 4 zeros drafted early in the year where it's like Evan Hull, Devontae Walker, Jermaine Burton. Like, there's very few complete teams for me. But on the elite tight end point, if any elite tight end spikes in the playoffs, which there's a lot that could, that just adds so many points to your roster where it's hard for running backs and wide receivers to separate as much unless you get a Derrick Henry 40-point game.
Well, if you do the math, there is 96 starting wide receivers roughly in the NFL. There's 32 starting tight ends, and half their teams, half teams don't even throw to their tight end. So your number of guys who can score 25 points in a game at the tight end position is really low. It's like super low.
People are being mean in the chat.
Mark Andrews is it's so funny. That's got to be one of the reasons why I'm one of the worst players in Best Ball Mania, is just like Bowers or Andrews on teams that would otherwise be good, like teams that theoretically could advance, but I spent a $500 or a fifth round pick on Mark Andrews.
I mean, the hope for Mark Andrews is the same hope for Tank Dell. It's that
there's no hope for Mark Andrews.
It's the tightrope, man. It's the tightrope, and that injury, returning from injury is not linear. Look, I didn't draft a lot of Andrews, so I was scared off by the injury. I didn't think it would be this bad, but there is some hope. This team might advance still, dude. Or is it advancing?
No. You think a team that has Rashee Rice, Jermaine Burton, Javon Baker, and Bo Melton, you think this is advancing? You think a Cooper Kupp
team? Pull up an Evan Hull team of mine. Let's find. I have like 10% Evan Hull. Should have been Trey Sermon.
Hey, he was active last week, brother.
Was he? Did he get pulled up?
He got called up. He did not play. Yeah, you get 16 Evan Hull teams.
Yeah, I mean, this is the dark side of drafting early. Is your pull up? So you notice the dates on them first of all. April 30th, May 20th. There was one or two teams in June where I was reading positive reports.
Oh my God, I'll have one active wide receiver this week on that team.
Pull up one of these teams. I'm sure. Pull one of the teams that was doing bad. I'm sure it's got 5 zeros on it.
Sure. Okay, here we go. Here's a 600th place team. Zamir White, Raheem Mostert, Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Ray Davis, Evan Hull, Puka out, Cup out.
Yeah, but like the
Zay
bigger things
Jones.
here are Zay Jones, of course, Zamir White, Blake Corum, Evan Hull. Ray Davis has somehow contributed 12 points. Mostert, of course. I mean,
he scored a garbage time and touchdown, didn't he?
who was
A touchdown and garbage time.
Yeah, he did. Who was a worse pick to you? Zamir White, Najee Harris, or Rachaad White?
Rashad was the worst, followed by Zamir, followed by Najee.
I think, okay, if you're going to say Rachaad is the worst, it's only because he's the most expensive, right? I'm assuming.
Well, he's just drawing completely dead to explode because
no, Zamir White is drawing completely dead. He's dead.
They're equally dead. They're both
I don't
zero.
No,
they're both
Rachaad
zero.
White had a 50-yard run this past week. Like, that is not dead. He got hurt though, so that is.
He had a 50-yard run that was like the least impressive 50-yard run of the. It was like watching Charlie Collar.
Najee Harris's longest run of his career is like 19 yards. A 50-yard run is an oasis in the desert to Najee. Come on now.
Sure. Yeah.
I think you could say Rachaad was the worst, but he was the most expensive. I didn't think, like, I drafted a lot of Rachaad. I didn't think we could just assume Bucky Irving was going to play his way onto the field this early. That I think is a little bit unlucky.
No, everyone said that was true because Rachaad White's bad and Bucky Irving's good.
Everyone said Mark Andrews was a great pick. Just because everyone's saying it doesn't mean it's,
I reject that dichotomy because you can do that with everything in fantasy football because there's a million people saying a million things. Like, you can find evidence anywhere, but Bucky was a really good college runner. Rachaad White was a really bad college runner.
But if we're talking about what the Cabal was saying, the Cabal was anti-Rachaad White, pro Bucky Irving. The Cabal was also very pro Mark Andrews. So the Cabal should have been pro Isaiah Likely. Some of us have said, why are we concerned about Dawson Knox when Isaiah Likely is just a better player?
Turns out Dawson Knox is the Bills tight end you wanted. And
you want to talk about things the Bills have done wrong? Like, how about paying Josh Allen's friend $50 million or whatever Dawson Knox got paid to? Like, he's just not like a threatening NFL player.
He's a good blocker. It's a good blocker, man.
Let's pull up the running back versus wide receiver tweet I send you just to talk about some of the top.
Well, let's finish doing tight end.
Okay, yeah.
I did just want to make one point. This is going to go. Bowers is going to go up. Ferguson's going to go up, and I think Ingram's going to go up a lot because I would imagine Evan Ingram is drafted with Brian Thomas Jr. a lot. What do you think about that?
Also paired with the Tennessee guys, but yeah, he's going to go up just because he's healthy.
Yes,
and Kirk's not. I mean, Kirk's running like a full complement of routes, but not playing a full complement of snaps. So, and then also like Kirk could be sent off at the trade deadline, which would be huge for Evan Ingram.
All right, so who would be the comparable wide receiver to Brian Thomas if there's 6,000? Lad McConkey, is that right? You think?
As far as
there's 6,000 Evan Ingram and Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh yeah. You could do Roma Dunze. You could do Ladd. You could do
2,000. So in my estimation, Evan Ingram coming way back up.
Yeah, and I saw Njoku I think would go up, but did he get hurt again?
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't find any more information about it, but I think
MRI, right?
Yeah, I think he's having an MRI. People want to know. I actually think Liam is not in the Cabal. I would say Liam is a non-Cabal member.
I fade some of the Cabal sayings on purpose because I think the Cabal is generally sharp people, but you want to talk about like groupthink and just doing something different.
So a lot of dudes who sniff their own farts, is kind of an element that you get into. Now, you want to talk about it. You want to talk about a number that's coming back up. Hawkinson.
He was my highest drafted guy last year. I just didn't do it with the injury.
If I told you that Hawkinson, Peter Overzet is the leader of the Cabal. No, he's not. He's not.
Yes, he is.
Pete is in the Cabal.
It's the Pete circle, though.
It's the Pete. So the thing is that Pete is not Pete doesn't tout players. Like Pete doesn't write articles about.
Pete does not operate as the Cabal either. I think he has changed how he's drafted. I think he's pretty smoothed out with his exposures now, which is not Cabal. Cabal is like, we draft Laviska Shenault in the 5th always, or Jerry Jeudy, something like that.
Yeah, Crane is probably, if I had to give it to one guy, I'd say Crane is probably where most of the, because Crane is so smart, and Crane. Well, actually, wait, no, it's fucking Michael Leone. It's my.
No, it is definitely the Cabal originated in the ship chasing circle, I think. But
everyone gets their data and their stuff from ETR.
But if you talk about who talks about the Cabal, it's you, Davis. You are the leader of populating the word Cabal and pretending that this Cabal exists.
Do you want to know? I'll even tell you how the word Cabal came about for best ball. No one, obviously I am the originator of this. So the Cabal came about from Pete's Discord back when it was when it was NFT season, when people were doing NFTs, and there was a user in Pete's Discord who started accusing other members of Pete's Discord of being in a best ball Cabal and ruining his bags. There was a group of people who were ruining his bags. And so people in Pete's Discord started saying it. And then I started referring to it as it pertains to best ball. So that's how it actually, that's how the best ball Cabal,
well, and then you have enough tinfoil hat people in the community who actually think that you're colluding somehow by streaming your drafts. You know, they're like, oh, you're how many people this summer did you have right? This I remember one time I drafted Taysom Hill over Pat Freiermuth, and this guy's leading his audience astray on purpose to get cheaper Pat Freiermuth, just asinine things. Helps the Cabal though. Who was the Cabal's guy this year? Drake May, or was it Andrews? I think it
depends. It depends on which part of the Cabal you're talking about, because some part of the Cabal thought Drake May was stupid, thought it was a bad idea.
I drafted a lot of Drake May. I'm stoked to get him starting. Pull up our May exposures. How we doing there?
I'm gonna have a lot. I just wanted to settle back down. It's Dontavian Wicks. Dontavian Wicks is the most representative Cabal player, just so we can go ahead and settle that now.
No, that was a Davis-centric Cabal. That was not a global Cabal, I don't think.
Dude, he's the wide receiver 4 on the Green Bay Packers, and he was a top 100 pick. It was not just me. It was not just me.
Well, you move markets, brother.
All right, Drake May. I have, by the way, Liam, this is a very Davis Mattek thing. Insanely good run out for me to get the start here, because obviously the Chiefs are on bye this week. I needed Drake May to be active this week. Okay. So 26 teams. Honestly, I would have guessed.
And by the way, guys, we are what? It's going to be week 6. So week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 9 weeks until the playoffs are here. If you were down 90 points, you need to make up 10 points a week, which, on average, which again, it doesn't work like that where it's just oh, I scored 10 more than you this week. It's usually I scored 140, you scored 80. So I made up 60 points this week. So it's a lot of this still. And as far I'm advancing 25 teams, that's somewhat fake because I don't have a lot of Saquon and he just had a bye. So a lot of that's going to start happening to advance rates. But you got a lot of Drake May teams that could go on a run. What if May scores 20 points on the ground,
18 and advancing none. So that's that's nice for you.
What's the pull up my team that's 8 points behind? Most of these are dead. Many of them are dead, but
the issue with May teams.
Oh, Davis, this is our team. That's
all
so
right,
funny.
So we just had double quarterback buys. This team needed May to start last week, brother.
Ugh.
What are your thoughts looking at this team?
Okay, well, ETN, bro, I think we want ETN traded at the trade deadline. Like, we want the Jags to
That's
lose.
not happening.
And we want the Chiefs to go get him. Rachaad White, got to be healthy. Nico out. Rashee Rice out. Amon-Ra back. Addison back. Palmer's playing again. DJ Chark.
Sucks. This team sucks. What were we doing?
Well, we nailed tight end.
Why did you make me take DJ Chark?
Dude, I have like 10% DJ Chark. I need him to get active. And Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne too. He played. So no, I mean ETN, man, a huge miss there though. Like, and I wanted to bring this up as a whole where so many guys I drafted last year who I thought sucked are doing well. Like Alec Pierce, Tank Bigsby. I didn't draft Tank Bigsby again. After drafting, he was one of my highest drafted players last year. Did you draft a lot of Tank?
No, I think I have like 2 teams.
Yeah, and it's just like, I guess Juju Smith-Schuster, it's a reminder. I didn't draft a lot of him, but like he's resurged. It's just a reminder that Alan Lazard, that Kareem Hunt, I guess guys are just never like guys can
Liam, I do need to correct you on something here real quick. If you think that Travis Etienne is going to get benched and it's not going to be like, it's going to be the exact same thing as Rachaad White and Bucky Irving, the Bucky Irving people are going to be like, why will Rachaad White not go to the bench? He stinks. This is just what NFL teams do.
No, I don't think Etienne's going to get benched. He's just been a very disappointing 4th round pick. And and Tank is literally the most explosive runner in the NFL this year. So I think he's going to get more play time.
Of course he's going to play more, and he's going to get some goal line work and stuff.
ETN is the pass catching running back. Like that's the like cope.
Yes. Yeah.
That is the cope.
I mean, I don't even have a lot of I don't even have a lot of ETN. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I should fact check myself. I don't think I have a lot of ETN.
Someone said Tank was a Cabal pick last year. That's true, man. He was.
Yes, yeah, he was. And fade the Cabal.
No, flop lag the Cabal.
Flop, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying flop. Yeah, I only have 5 ETN teams, but I don't have any Bigsby teams either.
I drafted ETN instead of Pacheco, so like better be lucky than good is I guess the lesson there. You know, at least my guy is going to play football. But can we talk about why, like, if Rashee Rice played for anyone but the Chiefs, are we getting this like 3-week string along surgery? Like, I don't know. That would piss me off if I draft a lot of Rashee Rice. Like, we all kind of assumed he'd be out for the year. And then they're like, Adam Schefter tweeted out, super optimistic about Rice. And then 10 minutes later, tweeted out, probably out for the year. Like, what's going on there? You know?
Well, the issue is that they wanted to confirm that he didn't have a torn ACL, which he didn't, and they couldn't do that until he had the exploratory surgery. So they didn't string it. And if they would have said he's out for the year, that would have been a lie.
Like if they tweeted out likely out for the year, they're going to scope to check it. That would have been not engagement baiting. Instead, tweeting out they're optimistic about Rashee Rice. Like, who knows what the scope will reveal? We don't know anything. Is misplaying what the most likely outcome is to me.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that they were coping, dude.
I don't think it was even the Chiefs coping. I think Adam Schefter's like, sure, I'll take 7 million impressions to pretend Rashee Rice might return.
Well, that's the entire Adam Schefter bit.
Yeah, fair.
Like, what do you think Adam Schefter's bit is, dude? This is completely insane. Like you guys need to get some more air. Like just like come up for air, dude. Like come on.
How many ETN teams do I have? Probably like 20.
Really? Liam, that's
I thought he was like a defensible running back there. 15.
You're advancing some of these teams too.
One of those teams is really good, or 2 of those teams are my two best teams. ETN.
This team is all right. Mike Williams, man. Justin, got to get Justin Watson on the.
No, this team I lost. Like I lost Wi-Fi and I lost data and I autoed Mahomes. And then, but I already had Jamar Chase and Burrow fell, and I was like, well, I'm not going to pass on the Burrow, Stroud, Chase, Nico stack. And then, of course, by autoing Mahomes, I missed on all the guys, and I was like, well, I guess Justin Watson is going to play. Maybe might get there.
Estime returned to practice last week, so he should be back soon. Estime drafters might get like this insane run out where
they might. Yeah.
Where Beatty gets hurt. Who's the other guy who got hurt? I'm already forgetting. Someone else got hurt. Blake Watson. No, not Bidet. Someone anyway, not important, not relevant. But Jaleel and Javonte have been so brutal that actually you could argue that Estime going on the IR and just not being present for all of the brutalness could be like it could have just actually saved him.
Dude, Jermaine Burton, man. If
hit him with Mahomes, Stroud, Burrow. Hit him.
I'm telling you, I auto drafted Mahomes, and then I was like, well, I'm just gonna pretend like every player in that round fails. I mean, what am I gonna do? Just roll with naked Mahomes? Gotta get Justin Watson in there.
This dude
off the screen. Flash a different ETN.
This guy finished 11th in BR last week and tanked Biggie's 4th highest owned running back.
He clearly didn't play last year. Congrats to finding best ball this year, sir.
Watching, if you had ever watched Tank Bigsby play football, you would not have been in. Who's
no, I mean like inherent bias year to year. Like, you know who else I drafted a bunch every year of his career except for this year is Jameson Williams. And that, like, I just was getting some more running backs in that range, and I thought I was a little overpriced. And I still like ETN. He's not gonna smash every week, but clearly a miss to not just pretend we're always right and just go down with the ship.
Everyone clearly missed the best player in fantasy football.
He was drafted a lot. Tony, like that, like that's not zero. I think Lazard was a sharp pick though. Just saying that, like, Rodgers loves his cronies.
Yeah, I don't know. Who are some other like not 100% drafted guys?
Oh, I pulled a list. Trey Tucker is a good one that I think both of us are on. Jordan Mason was 40. Here, I'll find my tweet on and I'll send it to you.
All right. We got Trey Tucker. He was drafted on only 6,000 teams. Wow. I wonder how many I have. 14, so way more than the field, and I'm advancing one of them. Yeah, of course. See, Leone, man. Leone, dude, you try and get one over on him. You're never fucking getting one over on Leone. He's too good at the game.
You saying Leone is the Cabal is one of the most insane things I've ever heard in my life. He's like anti.
Well, what I mean,
he's literally the one who comes and debates the Cabal about like Josh Jacobs.
What I mean is that
the tweet I just sent you, by the way.
What I mean by Leone's Cabal is I mean that the Cabal can't exist without Leone, because Leone does the most meticulous projection work, and Leone's work feeds into what everyone thinks about fantasy football, because
I don't look at any projections.
ETR is omnipresent.
I don't look at Tucker. That. Like, that's a way of just not getting caught up in groupthink. Jordan Whittington. Show that one real quick. Just like these are. Show that tweet real quick.
14% advance. I would have expected much higher. Some rarely drafted players in Best Ball Mania 5 who are valuable: Tucker, Kraft, Mason, Jennings, Yoshi Boss, Whittington, Tutu. I bet I have more than the field of Tutu.
Yeah, these are the rates the guys were drafted, by the way.
Right.
Not their advance or anything.
Lazard, McLeod, Justice Hill, and Emmanuel Wilson. Let's see how much Tutu Atwell.
By the way, Jordan Whittington 30%, 0% that happens if Puka Nacua didn't happen last year. Like absolutely 0% ever.
Of course I have 3.
I have,
And they're all, by the way, they're all 10th, 11th, and 12th place teams. I mean, that is just incredible stuff.
I don't know if I've got Tutu in Best Ball Mania. I got some in 20 round sites, like 1 or 2 teams. I did like Demarcus Robinson. That's a Davis Mattek win fade where I thought he could have some weeks.
One guy.
Well, fades are easier anyways. Like it's just easier to win on fades than when.
Well, every guy. The secret of fantasy football is that about 8 guys matter every season. About 15 guys are pretty good, and then there's about 50 guys who just kind of trade off being impactful. Maybe not even 50, maybe 30, and then everyone else just basically sucks ass.
Did you draft more Jefferson or me more Chase?
That's a good question.
I don't know the answer, by the way.
Jefferson, I have 28 teams.
I think you have me edged.
You have 5 Justin Jefferson teams, and you have 28. So is that the exact same?
No, we tied. What's your Chase teams? Pull up your Chase teams.
Oh God, I gotta have like none. 5. Wow, so literally the same. So literally the same.
Literally, yeah. And then I faded Breece, which I'm like pretty fortunate run out. I didn't think he would be this bad. But Jefferson and Breece and CMC I faded, but I just didn't I only got like 11% first round picks or something like that, first and second round versus like 16%.
I bet I have 0 Keaton Mitchell.
I got quite a bit of Keaton.
Yeah, he's a terrible pick.
I also have Rasheen Lee. Pull me up.
Chess, Liam, Keaton.
I have 0 Justice Hill.
5. Yeah, I bet I don't have any. I bet I don't have any. Chess, Liam. I definitely have some of this guy. I definitely have some Rasheen Ali. I bet I have like 10.
Those are both.
No, only drafts. 1. Wow. All right, good for me.
You drafted it in July.
Yeah.
You're feeling frisky, July 25th.
Rasheen Ali.
Keaton Mitchell could return this year, man. Oh, dude, I have some Deneric Prince.
3 Deneric Prince.
That I mean, this shows how
6 Clyde. 9 Carson Steele. There you go.
Pull me up for those players. But this shows how fickle fantasy football can be, where I would say Deneric Prince and Jordan Mason were similar upside bets for a week.
But Prince is just a terrible player.
Where Prince was okay, people, you literally were probably saying that about Mason last year.
I mean, he was like a non-prospect, Mason, like literally like a non-prospect.
Yeah, and so okay, the Mason run out is obviously infinitely better than the Prince run out, but as someone if someone drafted fully late and they were trying to draft exploitively and draft a low drafted guy, you would say, okay, Mason, CMC's backup, rarely drafted, got to hammer that. You also might say Prince, rarely drafted, Isaiah Pacheco's backup, got to hammer that. Psych, he got cut.
The worst 0 on rosters is CMC because he was the most expensive pick and he's giving you 0
because
points.
If he returns, he's super valuable. The worst 0 is, the guys who are literally out for the season.
Guys who are literally out for the season, yeah.
Yeah.
And how many Flacco teams? There you go. There's a good question. How many? I am positive that there are Flacco believers out there.
You want to talk about bad process? It's this. This is bad process.
No. Oh, Hollywood. There you go. Hollywood is actually the worst. Hollywood is actually the worst 0.
No, because he's not as expensive as some of the other guys, so they're worse.
But he gave you 0 points at all and can't come back.
I still think Pacheco hurts you more.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that taking Flacco is that dissimilar than taking Justin Fields.
Big time disagree for many reasons, and I think it's in general just really bad process to try to draft a really low drafted quarterback as your path to winning Best Ball Mania.
Wow, only 56 Kareem Hunt teams, and they're all
quarterbacks cannot separate compared to running backs or wide receivers, where Kareem Hunt is showing you could have landed a impactful running back who was rarely drafted. Or
56 Kareem Hunt teams is crazy.
I mean, I like he actually did average 10 points per game last year. So like I thought about it. I didn't do it, but Xavier Hutchinson, that's got to be very low. That's got to be very low. But yeah, I mean, for anyone who's trying to learn, I don't think you should be trying to like think about what you want to show up in week 17 with. Okay, you showed up with a 1% drafted Joe Flacco. Are you winning Best Ball Mania if he's starting? No. What would need to happen? Does he need to score 6 rushing touchdowns? Versus
I'll tell you what.
You drafted a 1% owned Kareem Hunt. What needs to happen? He scores 20 points.
Josh Downs. This man is going to end up being one of the greatest picks in Best Ball Mania.
Well, Richardson's going to play like this week, I think. So still unknown what.
Yeah, I mean, like. We'll see. We'll see, buddy.
I think Kraft was a smash. If you just like,
yeah,
I don't know how we could have foreseen that Musgrave goes to 0. Like they were both athletic guys. Musgrave played ahead of him.
8 Kraft teams.
Dude, that's nice. That's really nice, man.
Teams? 4 Musgrave. Yeah.
Pull up.
I think Kraft was my most drafted tight end in the big board. If I
you were into Kraft until the Peck pool. Go back to your draft teams, because I think this is an example of like your advance rates don't tell a full story. You have like several teams within 40 points or less.
I bet they all have fucking Rashee Rice on them.
Well, that would be that's a story of risk tolerance.
Why does this team have Rachaad White on it?
Rachaad White is not win. He's not a good pick at cost, but he's a fine pick.
How did that even happen though? Why would I even have Rachaad White on a team with a pulse?
You did a draft with me, and I was like, I don't know. Like, are we really gonna get this Bucky Irving guy to Wally Pipp him? Turns out maybe yeah.
I was gonna say, I wonder. This has got to be one I did with like Herzig or Neil Orfield or you or something.
I mean, you could check your app. You probably named him. Leggett, I don't know how serious his injury is.
You know what? Herbert. This is actually my vote. I want to bring up someone who I thought was I want to shame someone. I don't get to do very much shaming on the show because my teams are so dog shit.
Yeah. Chat, let us know who should we pull up here. We can shame anyone.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna take requests to shit on people. But this is the funniest possible thing to me.
Tanner Tolbert, dude.
Tanner Tolbert. That is really funny. Dotson and DeMarcus Robinson were like the two. Like, what do you win when you win? You win nothing.
I think. Picks. I mean, DeMarcus Robinson was game log watching from last year, and yeah, that process is not infallible, obviously, especially for an older player. But I thought he could have some touchdowns. John Dotson, I drafted one team, and I only drafted it late. Like I thought he was terrible.
Sure, Dotson was most assuredly not going to go ham. Like of all the players,
copium ever to state that
like, dude, Terry McLaurin is not even going quote unquote ham in Washington. It just seems insane. Yeah, here, let's check some of the league winners. Jordan Whittington, Coach Clash.
He's not a league winner, man. He's not a league winner because Kupp and Puka are returning. Who are the actual? This
is just what are we doing, man?
Actual league winners. Here's a tweet I put out. What's your stance? Is DeAndre Swift closer to a league winner or a bust to you?
Bust. To me.
He's had 2 20-point games. He did nothing in the first 3. The Bears look better. He's gonna perform, man.
Yeah, I think the thing is, wow, no real DeAndre Swift truther. No one even got him on 50% of their teams.
What did we got Swift at?
Oh God, I might not have any of him.
Really? So you were just drafting
Jalen Warren and Rico Dowdle, and I got 5.
I have more than 5.
Yeah, 22. A good advance rate, 16%. 16% is average. So
I mean, guys, if you 150 max, 25 teams is expectation. If you like, honestly, this year with how crazy things are, 15 teams plus. Okay, so we can pull the math of, and I've done this before. I can pull it up for you. How much do you think advancing
Hirsch,
50 teams
fucking legend.
like understand the game that we're playing here. The game we're playing here is you draft teams to then play a tournament where you need to win that mini tournament, to then win another mini tournament. You need to win that mini tournament to then get into a bigger tournament to actually win money. Like that is the game we are playing.
Yeah, I'm also 0 out of 7 in the big dog.
I'm one of two. I did more of the 5-5-5 teams, but one team came surging back for me. But let me pull up the math of advancing here. So
here, let's see if you think any of my big dog teams are live.
Okay. While I read this out, if you drafted 150 teams and you're perfectly average, you would expect to have at least one team in the finals roughly 11.7% of the time. If you were average every stage of the tournament. If you're a monster drafter, you advance 75 teams. You would instead expect to have a team in the finals 31% of the time. So double your teams, you're still only getting a finals team 3 out of 10 times, right? If you advanced 100% of your teams, how many times do you think you're getting a team to the finals? You got 150 teams rolling week 15. What's your guess, Davis?
If you advance 100% of your teams, I don't know, you get like half a team to the finals.
Well, how many times would you expect to have at least one team in the finals?
One at every 2 times.
It is a coin flip. 52.5% of the time, you will have a team in the finals. The other 50%, you won't. So this is the game we're playing, guys. Like, if you don't like this huge like this multiple tournaments, if you want to get rewarded for nailing who scores the most points in the regular season, and that's how you're approaching this, go play cash games. Put a lot of action into cash game best ball. That is like more rewarding straight advance rates.
All right. Let's see if any of these big dog teams are live. Kyler Murray and Bo Nix. So 2 alive quarterbacks. Kyren Williams, Raheem Mostert, Pollard, Jalen Wright, Jaleel, and Estime. I don't know what I was doing there. That seems bad. Nico, great. All right. Well, Nico and Hollywood. So this team will not be advancing.
I think like Nico coming back in 4 weeks, I would still take Nico on 100% of my teams.
All right. Crutches and Snapchat and Jack were in this one. Let's see if this one's any good. Burrow, Geno, Fields. All right. 3 guys who are alive. Najee, not great. Javonte, not great. Rico is alive. Eckler is alive. Herbert is dead-ish. Got a chase team. London, Moore, winners. Cooper, dead-ish. JSN is alive. Leggett is alive. Yoshi Voss is alive. Malik Washington is dead. And a classic Mark Andrews team. So this one is probably dead.
I think it's a pretty good, like the way Davis played it, where he only had 5 chase teams in Best Ball Mania. It's a pretty good way to balance out.
I've got him on 2 of these.
Yeah, by taking expensive shares of chase, where if you're gonna be wrong, let's try to profit from it.
Here's another one.
Here, I'll send you my one advancing team.
Goff, Geno, Nix, Chase Brown, Pollard, Dowdle, Chandler, Ray Davis, Estime, Chase, Cup, Moore, Worthy, JSN, Keon Coleman, Yoshi Voss, Laporta, Dulcich. That team is maybe alive.
Far from dead. You're getting Cup back. You're getting Pollard off by.
So I've got one team that looks alive. Let's see if this team is alive.
I DM'd you my one advancing team. My other one is in 10th and dead.
Purdy, Montgomery, Chase Brown, Spears, Dobbins, Pierce, Shipley. So this team is dead-ish.
Depends what happens to Joe Mixon.
All right, that team is we'll call it
Ray Tucker, pretty sick in the big big dog, man.
I think I have 3 of them in the big board.
You might have like 3 of the 20 Trey Tucker teams.
All right, here is Liam's. I'm probably doxing my DM, so I should probably not do this.
Open it. You can like right click it and open it in a new tab.
Classic.
It's a Richardson Geno team, so I don't know. Need Richardson to be better. Achan, let's talk about Achan after this. Achan ETN nailed it. Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Jordan Mason, and then Damian Pierce. Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk. I have that combo a lot. Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas. People were like autoing in this one, so I didn't get Trevor Lawrence. Tyler Lockett, Adonai Mitchell, Jalen Tolbert, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jake Ferguson, Isaiah Likely. I mean, this team is just very
I was going to say
complete.
this is pretty fucking live, Liam.
It's a very complete, healthy team to date, where like everyone is contributing except for Damian Pierce. But yeah, I don't know. Need Richardson to be better. Could go on a run though. Let's talk about Achan, man. I mean, we're running good with Achan in that his bye is this week, right?
Yes, you're running good there. You're running good that Tua did not just immediately retire from professional football.
Yeah.
You're running bad that Mike McDaniel could not pull his head out of his ass and just figure out a way to get him the ball 19 times a game when Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson. I thought he was going to do it in that first quarter against the Seahawks. Like they open up the game, Achan gets a 22-yard pass, Achan gets 2 more rushes, they have some first downs, and I was like, oh, like Mike McDaniel has this all figured out, and then he immediately like reverse figured it out, like immediately, and then Achan gets concussed last week.
Yeah, I mean, we just need Tua back. Like the Dolphins are a weird team where it's like with Tua, I don't think they can win a Super Bowl. Without Tua, I don't even think they're an NFL franchise. It's this weird dichotomy where he's so important yet not important. Someone wanted the advance rate of Nico. We're gonna pull that up in a second here. Davis, I'm gonna refill my water and take a piss. Hold us down.
All right. Well, let's do this will be fun. Let's check the leaderboard for the most cursed roster. Let's do so I guess Nico, Rashi. Can you do CMC? Does that work? It probably doesn't fit. McCaffrey. Yeah, it doesn't work with McCaffrey. Let's do Breece, right? That's more likely. Yeah, 628. Wow, a bunch of these are advancing. That's so funny. And then I guess A-Chain is not going to work. Wow, there is. Oh, and one of them is Karain. One of them is Karain. Isn't that so funny? Karain has a 4th place team that has Stroud and Mayfield, Breece, A-Chain, Warren, Marshawn Lloyd, Dowdle, Nico, Kirk, Reed, a cheaper Rashee Rice. Wow. That is a bummer. Yeah, Pacheco. There you go. That is a better one. Nico, Rice, A-Chain, Pacheco. Super fucking cursed. All right, let's remove A-Chain. 424 of these. Of course, the advance rate is very good. Yeah, really not ideal. Let's see. Are any of these teams? Let's see if any of these teams have any hope. Stack Fetty, I like the name, is in 240th place. Allen, Cousins, Rogers, Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, Javonte Williams, Chuba Hubbard. A Chase team, Nico, man. Just the Nico Rashi combo, man. That is there are 5,501 teams. Buddy. Really not ideal.
I mean, let's not, dude. Nico is not dead. Okay, Rice.
Here, Liam, you talk for a second. I gotta go check on my dog. She's fucking crying upstairs.
Okay, this is the dark side. Davis, let me share my screen if you can. Get him next time.
How do I? No, I'm right here. How do I do it?
I think.
How do I turn it over to you?
Here, I'll present my screen and then you can just add it in. All right.
There you go.
The dark side of fantasy football and like what I was trying to get to with Davis earlier is
There you
this
go.
is pinned in my Discord, by the way, BBMDB. Is, you know, when you draft a lot of a player, you are letting yourself up to some downside. So in years past, I've played more exploitative than I have where like 30% is relatively smoothed out. Now I have, 10 players, 20% plus. I have a lot of players like 14% plus where I'm not going to feel as good as like I have, if I pull up Nico. Okay, I have 21 Nico teams. Those feel sick, but I wasn't feeling as good as Dorito or No Ramos or fantasy numbers. And yeah, like unfortunately for these guys, they're pretty unlucky. Like, you know what else has been unlucky? I can't highlight comments, but Patrick Donovan in the YouTube chat, he's the one who runs BBMDB. So shout out Patrick, but so like, yeah, this sucks for these guys. Now a BBM team is $25. Like, I'm okay playing exploitative, and I'm assuming these people are. The good side of exploitative is Patrick, what's the wizard guy's name who's crushing it right now? FF Wizard, I think. FFB Wizard, maybe? Fantasy Football Wizard? Yeah, like this guy, it feels on top of the world right now. FFB Wizard.
Is he the best player in the game?
No, because I don't think well, look at this cute dog, dude. Guys, give us a like and subscribe, especially on my
What's
channel.
up, everybody?
For dog. Hey bud, what's your dog's name again? Murph?
This is Murphy. Same name as Karain. Same name as
Murph.
Karain's dog.
Also my last name, some would say, but Darnell Mooney. But Alvin Kamara breaks a leg. Wizard's not feeling so hot. Wizard didn't feel so hot when Tua got hurt. He's very sharp though. He has Dalton Kincaid 66 times. Like Jelani Woods. Like there's dark. Like this guy probably has a lot of zeros on his teams where he is advancing a lot of teams because of Alvin Kamara.
Zeros don't matter as much as the Giga spike weeks though, in general.
They may not matter for advancing, but when you get to week 17, if you have 13 players and someone else has 18, your EV for winning is just way down. Like if we go into somebody,
Liam, this is a good bit. Let's go to the top teams and see if we buy them for $100.
Okay. Well, let's look at our top teams first. This is your top team. It's a top 1,000 team. It's a Burrow, Levis, Carr team.
Immediately would not buy this for $100. This team sucks.
Achan Walker, Kamara, Ray Davis, Gibson. So I don't see anything problematic with this. Jefferson, yep. Moore, yep. Higgins, yep. Rice, hurt. Sheed, yes. Cooks, no. Mooney, yes. Goddard, Schultz. I mean, I'm not giving. Someone was trying to sell best ball teams in my Discord, and I just had to stop the grift. I was like, guys, you cannot he wanted like $500 for a team. And I'm like, bro, no one is buying that. It is not worth that. Stop trying to run this grift in my
if there was a certain team, I would buy it.
And you would buy it week 4, the week where we just saw Nico. Like you would have bought Nico Collins.
You got to show me the team. Like I'm not saying like if there was
last
a team
week
that
you would have bought a team with Nico and Rashee Rice, and now you're like, fuck, like I bought that.
That's the name of the game.
This is my top team. Pretty good team. Like ETN, no. Cook, yes.
Man, if Khalif Raymond was like Kareem Hunt or something, I'd be like, I'd buy.
Yeah, if I just drafted the guy, drafted 56 times instead. You know, my best pick ever in best ball was
Here's something that is not true. I'm definitely not a great gambler. I am just a gambler. I'm just a gambler, buddy.
we're degenning
I
out
don't know
here.
if I would include great.
The
Yes, I would say this is true. There's a lot of teams worth 0 though. There's a lot of
Yes.
teams with it an expected. Well, actually, Shady, that would not be true because there are so many teams worth 0 that just having a team that is not worth 0 is like. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like your team is not like my Rashi
There are
Rice,
so
Nico
many
Collins
teams that are dead that a lot of teams' EV is a little bit higher because they're not
because the money has to
literally
go
dead.
somewhere. Yes.
Yeah, they're not literally dead. So the amount of teams that can actually win the contest is not as big as you would think. Like I don't know, maybe only 30% of teams are live to actually win first at this point because
This should be the highlight of my channel. This is what my YouTube chat is always saying. We're always saying, we understand what you're saying. You're just wrong. And you know what? It's probably true.
Oh no, does James Cook have an injury? Jesus, that would crush the Bills and me. No, but like my point in like buying any specific team is okay, week 1 you would have been like, yes, the Nico Rice team, give me it. And you know, maybe someone would try to buy a Saquon Derrick Henry team.
I would
Newsflash,
not. I'll put it on the record right now. If you try and sell me a Derrick Henry team, I'm not buying it.
I would not either, but newsflash, things change quick in the NFL, you know, like especially with old players, whatever. Would you buy this team? I wouldn't. No.
Jaden Daniel, what would you try and sell it to me for?
Well, it's not mine, so as much money as you're willing to pay.
Oh, this is the first place team?
Yeah, this is the highest scoring team.
Okay, so Barkley, Kamara, Javonte, Bucky, Braylon. The issue is he's got Rice and Calvin Austin. So you're and trade.
He's got Rice, but he's got it as like a
8th round pick.
8th round pick. So it's like losing an 8th round pick is not end all be all. I think my best team is probably my second highest scoring team because it was drafted in May 24th. And so like Chase, Nico, Mike Evans, Terry, Brian Thomas, like that 5 is just sexy. The running backs are not hot though.
Yeah.
What about the second highest scoring team? Would you buy BJ 0252s?
Immediate no. I mean, he's got so many zeros on this team already.
Kamani, not a 0.
Ford is a 0. Samuel's a 0. Bateman's a 0. Patrick's a 0.
Ford is maybe a 0. Patrick.
Liam, if I'm not allowed to cope my bags, you're not allowed to cope your bags. Just admit it's a 0.
I let you cope your bags. I'm the one who's
want to cope my own bags. I want to.
Someone saying zoom out a little bit. I think it's okay to be a little bit more patient and see how it plays out between Ford and Chubb. DRB 92.
Shipley is the only. Shipley and Roman Wilson and Jelani Woods. Yeah, I'm not buying this team either.
No, it has Reed, man. This team's sick. Chase, Neighbors, Reed, Brian Thomas. Like, I like all the. Okay, no, it has no. Tight end is dead for it. This team's pretty good. I'm not buying any best ball teams from anyone because you gotta draft like you're building the winners, you know.
But imagine if Fantasy HD1 has the winner and you could have bought it for $100 right now and you turned him down, you'd feel sick.
This team was drafted in May. Chase, Nico, Flowers, Deontay, Jameson, 2 zeros.
Yeah.
Pretty sick team other than the 2 zeros.
Liam, do you stream on Firefox?
No, Chrome.
Why don't you share the tab?
I was just trying to present real quick to show you, and it allows you to click around and go into places.
Okay.
Do you want me to share the tab?
No, I mean I don't care. I thought I was giving you some fellow streamer advice right there.
Kincaid. Let's see. I think Kincaid will be fine. Will he be a league winner? Probably not. 7th place. Brett don't hate.
Here's the thing. Firefox, you guys will learn. Firefox uses like none of your computer's computing power. So if you have,
I actually downloaded it the other day because of that. Because Chrome is using too much.
Like I use Chrome to stream, But like when I'm just like working on like articles and rankings and stuff, I use Firefox because it uses so little of your computer's power.
Dude, the Wizard is crushing it. I got some 5-5-5 teams against the Wizard too. The Wizard with the 4 QB team, dude.
What's Dan Zach's Underdog username?
Oh, Pepper Prince, I think. He actually DM'd me the other day asking if I had 80 ADPs from last year. And I told him, no, but you can see results on Underdog and pull board. This can't be Dan Zach. Maybe he only drafted. Maybe this isn't big enough buy-in for him to max.
He wasn't.
I think he got married or something. So
I did a podcast with him in like June or something, and he said he hadn't drafted any teams yet.
Yeah, well, he 5 of 8.
Okay, I'm taking the screen back over because
go ahead.
There are a couple. There's every stream. There's one man that we have to check. People demand.
Hit him with the gritty?
No, even better. People demand.
Spelled Soccer Dave wrong.
Oh, I did spell Soccer Dave wrong. My dog is trying to eat a nicotine gum wrapper that she found on the floor. Soccer Dave tripled his advance rate. Soccer Dave tripled his advance rate. Let's look at his second place advancing team. Let's look at how he tripled his advance rate.
I mean, if Brandon Ayuk and Chase didn't have big games, I'd be right with Soccer Dave. So it just shows you how fickle things are.
So he's got a running back room of Zach Moss, Tony Pollard, Chase Brown, Jerome Ford, and Rico Dowdle. Chase, Ayuk, Kupp, Rashi, Watson, Demario Douglas, Marvin Mims. Slayton. There you go. Totally that's how this team became an advanced rate superstar team. Aaron Riddle drafted 4 BBM teams and is advancing the same number as Kitchen. Yeah, this honestly, Kitchen, if you're listening,
bullying is not okay unless it is to Soccer Dave, and then
exactly. I'm not looking up.
It is, I guess.
I'm not looking up my fellow Cabal members and their shitty advance rates, but I will look up. You know what? I haven't heard Peter talk about it, which must mean his teams are good.
Well, he's just shipping battle royales.
Pete is advancing a perfectly cromulent number of teams.
He's been right at average.
Yeah. Do you want to draft some battle
getting
royales?
To 25, I'm not gonna lie, felt great. This for someone who's been like, chill out on advance rates. And they I could go down to 12 next week. I could go down to 8.
Justin Jefferson statistically can't score over 25 points in a game. So
no,
probably
40.
That won't happen.
40 is what we settled on. Because his yak is only 5 yards.
His yak is only 5 yards, aka the same number as Jamar Chase.
As Jamar Chase without Joe Burrow and the seasons where Chase didn't play.
Joe Burrow played in 2022.
Not the whole year though.
Not the whole year, dude.
And T. Higgins missed time, which when defenses can just sit 3 defenders over Chase, not great.
All right. Do you want to get out of here or do you want to draft some BRs?
Let's do one. In case this hurricane kills me, at least I can live on through this one BR.
Okay, we'll draft a BR and then we'll get out of here. It'll be a great thing to do while you're holed up.
Little streamer advice: remove Aaron's comment.
Oh yeah, I always do that. Always keep them on.
I know.
Hold on, I gotta make this one last timestamp. Cabal.
Good for you, dude.
Best ball advance rate check.
Guys, if anyone who watches my streams regularly wants to DM me the timestamps, and I'm gonna ask for Davis as well. If you watch Davis's stream, do him a favor and DM some timestamp cards for us to put into our videos. We appreciate you.
You can't check big board advance rates. You have to. There's no database site for it.
Well, you can go into your app and show it.
Yeah, this is good. This was good to have gotten overweight on Anthony Richardson and Resurrection, in my opinion.
Oh, so, especially with how I was gonna put out Resurrection rankings. And then the
contest filled.
As I finished them, didn't check the fill rate, finished them, and then I was like, oh, okay, contest is 99% filled. Great. Underdog tweeted about the resurrection ADPs this morning as well. They were like, these guys went up and down. I was like, yo, it filled. Check your big boards. I did something really bad where this was especially bad because they did rake back for 50 drafts and I did 48 drafts. I just didn't know about the rake back, but of 48, it is top 3 advance. I am advancing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
I have here, let me check on my phone.
14 of 48 is 30%. Average is 3 out of 12 times 48, 12 teams. So I think I'm like right at average.
I did 150.
I'm two above average.
And I'm getting $370 back. So you do the math.
Someone asked me where was Kincaid ranked. What I did is I lowered all of the tight end ranks. There was a huge gap in the tight end ranks, so I just put them all in their own round.
Drake London, Jaden Reed, or AJ Brown, Liam?
Jaden Reed easily, or AJ Brown.
I was gonna. We'll do Jaden Reed. AJ Brown is probably gonna be my top exposure play this week.
AJ. I saw Drake London and I was like, oh, anyone but that. No,
I mean Drake London against the Panthers.
So I don't know. I didn't really draft a ton of Drake London. Hard to say that he didn't look awesome when Kirk Cousins throws for 600 yards. But what was your takeaway from the Falcons game? Like Mooney, clearly a good pick. Pitts was targeted.
My takeaway is that Kirk Cousins is gonna get a lot of garbage time numbers. Like he just is gonna end up. He's just gonna end up being Kirk Cousins. You know. Like, don't you think that Kirk Cousins just ends up with 4,400 passing yards now? Like, that's just exactly what you drafted.
I still don't think it's impossible we see Michael Penix by the end.
Aren't they're like pretty much in contention though, and that division is so bad. Like, who challenges them in their division?
Bucks and Saints.
The Saints are dead.
You know what's crazy? I have a team with Baker Mayfield and Jaden Daniels, and I think Daniels has only outscored Mayfield a single game this year.
Yeah, it's just the consistency, right?
Yeah, but you would like Daniels is like rushing like 12 times a game, so you would think that he is giving you a little bit more floor. I guess Mayfield's just been that good. That will regress.
Yeah, Mayfield's been awesome. All right.
I'm a big fan that I'm going to do more BRs this week where it's a $7 entry now with 50K to first. I'm a big fan of two extra dollars for 20 grand extra to first. What's your takeaway, Davis?
Yeah, I agree. And the not only that, but the the min cash is not 2x anymore, which is fine for me because I'm not playing it. I'm not playing it for the min cash. Yeah, the rake is a little bit less in BR this week, which is nice.
Dude, what if eventually it gets so big that it's like $1 million to first battle royale drafts? That would be insane.
If Underdog got much bigger as a website,
10x. They would need to 10x.
Happen. All right, I want to take
Pollard.
Yeah, Pollard is the best pick in BRs this week.
Pollard and Godwin. We've seen.
I'm not taking Godwin.
Who does he play though? Who does he play? Let me make the case real quick.
They play New Orleans, so it's just going to be like a really
but didn't we just see like he runs the same routes that we just saw Juju Smith-Schuster tear up the Saints on?
Sure, it's fine. I probably won't have very much of him, so I will use you as my exposure.
I don't really
my exposures.
I drafted more Mike Evans than Godwin this year. Like I had Brian Thomas ranked like in the 60s.
I've like hardly any of them, honestly.
I stopped drafting Mike by the end. And I still don't think he's been that impressive. Like he's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week.
Well, he's going to score 2 touchdowns. He's going to score 2 touchdowns a lot more than
most. Fair.
Than most.
But it's
Well,
like
McMillan is hurt. McMillan has been
he's
been
just hurt.
injured. Yeah.
Yeah, the injured guy, like there's a lot of guys coming off IR who could be relevant. Kendre Miller, Kendrick Bourne, DJ Chark. You know, like none of these names are the most sexy, but they're all feasible. Sterling Shepard, no. Definitely not.
The shower narrative, brother.
Yeah, I mean for showdown, okay. But
Sterling Shepard has like 40% or like 150% more fantasy points than Mark Andrews this year.
oh my god, dude. That Charlie Kolar run, I did not know who that was for a while. I was like, is that Andrews?
They drafted Charlie Kolar ahead of Isaiah Likely. He led Iowa State in receptions his final season.
Oh, Davis, we're advancing a different team on mine now.
Wow.
It's a Burrow Herbert team. Kyron, David Montgomery, Rico Dowdle, Bucky Irving, Braylon Allen, Deneric Prince. Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Dontavian Wicks, Xavier Legette, Andre Yoshivas, Brendan Rice, Trey McBride, Jake Ferguson. So got some pieces, but a lot of zeros.
A lot of zeros. Hard to overcome. Lots of zeros. All right. Quarterback, we'll do. You want Love or Baker?
Easily Love.
13% drafted versus 58% drafted.
Yeah, I think you still do Love.
All right. What about tight end?
I mean, I like Ferguson, but we're like too chalky.
He
do you want
just
to scroll? Do you want to scroll
went.
at the tight end?
Yeah, I really like Likely this week. I really liked him last week too.
He's
so maybe
fine. Keep scrolling though. Keep scrolling. What about Kate Otten?
Kate Otten. We could. Well, no, you don't. You probably don't want
Double
two bucks
Tampa,
without
it's fine.
Baker.
No, it was your.
You don't want two Buccaneers without Baker.
Pat Freiermuth.
Let's do Schultz.
Dude,
If we're trying
every single first down against the Bills, Dalton Schultz did this, and it was tilting me to no end.
That would be if your team was getting beat by Dalton Schultz.
Like the camera would zoom in on Dalton Schultz's face, and he's just like making these dumb faces, and I'm like, they're penalizing everyone in the NFL except for him for making the finger guns because he's doing it so egregiously. Davis, this was fun, man. You can have my YouTube channel if it washes me away. That's all I got.
All right. Well, stay safe, brother. I'll be thinking of you. I hope to hear from you tomorrow. Everyone, if you enjoyed it, make sure that you like the video. Make sure that you are subscribed to both the Chess Liam YouTube channel, my channel. Check out Liam's chess channel. He's trying to grow the second channel, and I will be back doing the end game battle royale stream tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. So I will see y'all then. Have a great day. Good luck this week.